I'm Matthias Young, and in this lesson we're going to be taking a look at a very simple way to move through different positions of the E minor pentatonic scale. Now, if you've already been able to move through the different positions all across the neck, then this lesson's not for you. But if you are struggling, then I've got a very simple way to help you move through these patterns. So first off, within each one of the patterns, we have a 6-note fingering pattern that is the same. For instance, a pattern of 1-3-1-3-1-3. We've got that pattern all over the place, and we can actually use that 1-octave pattern to help us connect these different positions. So we're going to start off in the key of E minor. And the easiest way to do this is, first off, find the note E. Well, there's lots of different E's that we can use. For starters, I'm just going to use E right here on the 7th fret of the 5th string. So once I've located my E, I'm going to place my 3rd finger right there. So once I've located that, the pattern that I'm then going to have is going to move around the note E. So with E, I move down 1 note. I've got my 7th. I go down to the next string. There's my 5th, and there's my 4th, A. Well, if I go up the pattern, then I finish up also on the note A. So it puts E, which is the tonic, because I'm playing the E minor pentatonic, puts E right in the middle of this pattern. But it does another thing, and this might be a little bit easier for you, is where you're starting with your index finger, starting on the note A. It starts that pattern on the 4th scale degree of the key. So let me back up, because that might be just a little too much theory right there. Okay, so we are in the key of E minor. So if I go up to the 4th scale degree, not the 4th note of the scale, because it's a pentatonic scale, that'll put us in the wrong part. But if I go up to the 4th scale degree, then in the key of E, that would be A, because I would count E as 1, then just keep going up, E, F, G, and then it starts over again at A. So there's A. So I'm going to have the 6-note pattern of 1 to 3. Now from that, it's very, very simple, because then where my 3rd finger just left off, which is at the A on the 7th fret of the 4th string, I can then move my 1st finger right there, and I can repeat the pattern. Now you might just say, well, wait a second, that pattern changed because I moved frets. Well, yes, I did move frets, but the pattern itself did not change. The reason why I had to shift frets is because of the tuning difference between the 3rd and the 2nd string. It's still a 1 to 3 pattern. And where do I end up? Right on the note A, right there. So then I can do the same thing again, starting with my index finger. Now this time, I can't do a 6-note pattern simply because I run out of strings. But starting in this position right here, so this would be the 5th position, because my index finger is at the 5th fret. But that takes me from A to A. Again, E, the tonic of the scale, that's right in the middle. Then I can start it again. And then again. And then if I was to continue on, there'd be my A up there. But I want to stay in position. We can do that anywhere on the fretboard. For instance, if I start A on the 5th string open. So that works. I can do this. All of that works. So anywhere on the fretboard, if I find the note A, I can do this 6-note pattern utilizing just fingers 1 to 3. And that can help me move through different patterns and move through the fretboard with relative ease. But what if we're playing in a different key? Because then the notes E and A, those might not matter anymore. So let's say we're playing in the key of A, for instance. Okay, so I can either find an A on the fretboard, or in this case, I want to go ahead and find my 4th. So my 4th scale degree in A, that's going to be the note D. Okay, so let's find a D. I've got a D right here on the 5th fret of the 5th string. So there's a D, which means I'm going to have this pattern. That puts A right in the middle of that sequence. Leaving off on D right here, I can then start again with my index finger, but also remember, as I go to the 2nd string, I'll shift up a fret. So again, I end on D right there. You just have to remember that within that 6-note pattern, the tonic of the scale, that's going to be right in the middle. So you can do that with any key, anywhere on the fretboard. It simply depends where you start, which determines how many times you'll be able to connect it. So you might only be able to connect it a couple of times, you might be able to connect it 3 times. It just depends where you start off. But it's a very, very simple way to start working through the minor pentatonic scale, which is, of course, one of the most useful scales on the guitar. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I'm Matthias Young. I'll see you next time.